So what I want to do is now that I have proven that the Speeduino can run the car, I wanted to find kind of a more plug-and-play solution. I wanted to maybe do a second generation or a second design iteration of my ECU build. All right, thanks for tuning into another episode of BP Builds. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a build series or if this is just going to be maybe one video, but I think there's going to be a lot to cover here. So what I wanted to go over, or what I at least wanted to try, was to continue working with the Speeduino ECUs. And if you haven't seen the videos on the channel yet, I built, and I can't show it to you because it's out in the car right now in the garage, but I built a Speeduino V3 ECU that I'm using to run my turbocharged SN95 Mustang, a 302 Mustang pushrod 5-liter. And I've changed heads, I've changed cam, I've changed intake, I've added the GT45 turbo. Right now I'm running about 5 PSI, but I'm still doing some testing with the car. But basically I've proven that I can use a Speeduino to run the car. I can run the V8 with my Speeduino. And what I did is I removed the entire engine harness, and this is only part of the harness. I have more of it in my pile of parts. In my pile of parts over here. These are all Mustang parts from the 95 Mustang GT. You see here's part of the main engine harness with the fuel injectors and everything. So I removed the complete engine harness from the Mustang and basically made my own standalone harness, and that worked very well. And it is doable. I was able to get all of the factory dashboard gauges to work and basically have it be a seamless integration with the car. It runs as if, you know, it's stock. You know, the fan works and everything like that. The fuel pump. I did have to splice into the harness in a few areas, but it was more of a custom build. It was more of a custom job, and I'm thinking that's maybe a little bit more work than the regular person or most people would want to tackle, because it was quite involved. And I went down the path of the Speeduino because when I was looking into this a few years ago, I could really only find two options available for tuning these cars, and I believe this applies to the Fox body cars, the SN95 cars, and even the New Edge style. So I'm going to say years, 86 through 04. But I want to focus on mostly the 302 stuff. So it would be the Fox body and the SN95. 94, 95 model year. So I know that the 94, 95s are kind of their own animal, and this harness is out of a 95 5-speed car, and it's complete except for a few things, and I'm not sure at the time of filming this video. It's January 30th, 2025. I have not released the Turbo Build Series videos yet, so you may or may not have seen that car. What I want to do is now that I have proven that the Speeduino can run the car, I wanted to find kind of a more plug-and-play solution. I wanted to maybe do a second generation or a second design iteration of my ECU build. And what I have planned, or what I'm hoping I can do, is build an ECU that literally is plug and play. I may have to think about this for a little bit, but I'm trying to gather some supplies. But I'm trying to have another option available to tune these cars. Like I said, I was able to find two sources. One was the Moats quarter horse, and the other was the SCT software, or the SCT company. And I believe that both those companies, you have to buy a chip that clips onto the circuit card or the circuit board of the Ford factory ECU. And I have two of them here. I have two Ford ECUs, and I have two Speeduino ECUs, plus the ECU out on the Mustang right now. But I'm trying to just gather my thoughts here and explain what my plan is. And this is the ECU out of the Mustang. This is a T4 MO, so this is a 1994 to 1995 Mustang GT 5-speed ECU. And here's the harness for it. So here's the main plug that went into the ECU, and this went, you know, the firewall grommet was right here, and that went through the firewall into the engine. And there were also three connectors next to this, a long gray one, a long black one, and then I think a shorter gray one. Those behind the kick panel, I removed from this harness, and that's what all these black tape, blue tape are. So like here's a coolant gauge, here's a ground wire, here's, you know, goes to engine harness. I just left myself some notes, and I marked them all, and I basically have the complete pinout of a 94-95 ECU. And I know where these wires go, and I have the wiring diagram. So I'm basically going, what I want to do is I want to save this ECU because this one's fairly valuable and it still works. There's nothing wrong with it. But then I wanted to take this ECU. Now this ECU, it looks identical because it's the same style ECU. Even the connectors are the same. If I stand them up on the end, the connectors are the same. Now this ECU is from a 1992 or 1993 Ford Taurus, and I bought this used on eBay, delivered to my house for only $27. And I'm interested in this because my T4 MO harness plugs right into it. But what I want to do is totally take it apart and basically gut it. I want to hollow out this ECU and have it basically just be a case. But then I want to install this ECU into it. So this is I already showed you a V3, a V0.3. This I just bought. This is I went to WTM-Tronics Weaver, and I bought, this is the V0.4 board. So this one is much smaller, but it's just as capable as the V0.3. It can do it has 4 channels, ignition and fuel. And it also, I believe, has a tachometer output, so I don't have to go through the trouble I had to go through to get the tach to work on the V0.3. So my plan is to basically take the Ford Taurus ECU apart and put this ECU in there, and then wire up this ECU to this connector, such that when I plug it into the car, it would essentially be a plug-and-play ECU. So if you're looking for a way to tune your Mustang, I'm hearing, I did reach out to the Moats Quarter Horse Company a few years ago. I talked with him. He was very knowledgeable and very helpful to me. But if you go with those two options, you're basically forced to run the factory ignition system and the factory mass airflow system. Whereas with this, we're going to get away. We're going to be moving away from that, and we're going to go to speed density, which uses a map sensor. But there's basically a lot that I'm going to have to cover with this build. But basically, in summary, the goal is to make a plug-and-play Speeduino ECU to run a Fox body or an SN95 Mustang. So the Fox bodies are A9Ls. That's a different tuning strategy. But basically, I wanted to see if I could do it. And if I can do it, that would be, I think, useful to I think, the Mustang community, because I don't know if there's many tuning options available. These cars are getting to be, 30 or 35 years old, and the factory electronics are wearing out. So just in the spirit of trying to keep those cars on the road still and support the community and kind of share what I've learned from my experiences from doing a full custom standalone ECU and harness and tune and turbo build. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. This ECU is an NO2C, which I was going to go down this route. This could run a V8 too. I've modified it. I've got the +2 fire chip on there. That'll add 2 more channels for me, so I can do change it from 2 channels to 4 channels. So I was going to go down this path, but this still would require a factory harness. I just liked its smaller form factor, because that was another challenge that I had, is I had to find a place to mount my ECU, and the wiring was a little bit of hard work and tedious, and I'm thinking if I can simply unplug the factory one and plug in a Speeduino disguised, basically a disguised Speeduino that looks like a Ford ECU, even though inside of it it's totally custom. So that's kind of I'm trying to think of the simplest way to describe my project, but it's not simple really. So let me pause the video and we'll talk about this ECU a little bit. Yeah, so I ordered the full kit from Weaver, and it came with the board, it came with the component kit. So this is the component kit. It's got everything you need inside of there. And then I ordered, it came with the map sensor. This one I believe is a 3-bar. And then I also ordered this. This is another one of, it's basically just another one of these. So now I have 3 of these. I have one out in the car, one here. This I have plans for getting. If you look down here, I've got an F4i crotch rocket Honda CBR 600 engine. This would be perfect for that. But this is just another reluctor interface. Because the challenge, I think, is going to be, you see I have the factory Ford ignition here. I've got the factory Ford coil and aftermarket, but plugs into the factory Ford harness. So this is basically a factory 95 ignition system. So I want to try and find a way where I can get the ECU, the Speeduino, to talk to this. Because what I did on my build was I did I ran 4 ignition coils, LS style smart coils. But I wanna try and learn a little bit more about this, and maybe it would be a little bit of a fun project for me. So I wanna do that, and then I also bought. Here's just the what drives it all. This is another Arduino Mega. So this is a Arduino Mega 2650 with the 16 clock crystal on there with the USB cable and everything. So that's kind of my plan. But first, what we need to do is disassemble. Basically, like we talked about, I wanted to disassemble this 92 Ford Taurus ECU. So I just got this delivered to me today. It came from Rhode Island, and I wanna take it apart. And you see that this circuit board will have no problem fitting inside of there. So let me kind of clean up this mess, and we're just gonna have this ECU. All right, I just took all 6 screws out. A few of them were already loose, so I don't know what we're gonna find in here. Okay, so it's an EEC-IV type ECU. But I guess I don't care about that. Here's it's basically looks to be about 3 pieces. But I'm curious in basically desoldering this I really just want the connector. I really just want to separate the board here from the case, and then I want to separate the connector, and the little cover just fell off. There's that. It's called the J3 port. That if you had a quarter horse or the SCT, it would clip onto that. It would clip onto that, but we're not going to be using that. So, yeah. Now, I think it's going to be disassembly. We're going to continue to tear this apart, and I want to separate the board because I'm not going to be using it. That's why I paid $27 for the case and the connector. Really is what I was interested in. I don't even care what this board is even, if it's even good or not. It's useless to me, really. But you see these clips hold those chips against there. There's probably some thermal paste or whatever for heat. So okay, so let me now that I've got it apart and kind of see how it works, let me get out some tools and we'll go over the next disassembly. All right, so I think I've got it. So I got all the screws out. I'm using a 4mm little socket, and here's the screws. So there was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and then these two larger ones went here. So that got the board unbolted from the aluminum cage here, but then there were these heatsink components. So I just took a screwdriver and lightly pried, and was able to basically separate the board. So now there we go. That's kind of what I was looking to do. So I basically got the ECU down to just the board level. So here it is, and this is what I wanted to work on next. So you see it's all shiny. It's got what's called conformal coating on there, which is kind of a moisture and corrosion protectant. So what I want to do now is I'll probably do some cleaning. I'll probably scrub this down and dry it. Same thing with these parts. I'll probably just get them clean. And then here, I think that these solder joints are all conformal coated as well. So I want to desolder. There's 60 pins. So basically I want to separate this 60 pin connector from this board. And then this board, I won't need anymore. I think I'm gonna have to get another insulative sheet to simulate this circuit board. I think I'm gonna get like a piece of FR4 or something like that. And I basically want to get another sheet that I can drill some holes in, and then I'll mount my ECU to that sheet with some standoffs and some screws or something. So now that I've got it totally torn down, let me get set up for some soldering. And then I forgot to mention that there were here and here and there and there, and there was one more small one there. These are just springs, is all they were. So they're like a clamp to clamp these against the heat sink. So I just used the screwdriver and pry those off. Just be careful because they can go flying. Okay, so I just have a little bit of flux, Kester 186 flux. Here's my soldering iron, a pine sill. So I just put I've been working on this, so it's not quite there yet, but I'm down to here, and you see I'm doing these last 6. So I've put some flux on those 6. And then I've got my solder wick that I've been soaking up all that solder. So I'm trying to separate the connector from the board. This is slow going here. This is slow going, but I got the one side totally free. So all these, that'd be 30 pins are free. Now I'm working on these 30, and I think we'll get there. So let me keep. I noticed on a website called DIY Auto Tune, they're selling these, and it seems like they're doing exactly what I'm doing. Their website description says, you know, used OEM connectors that show some blemishes, but doesn't affect the functionality, and they've been desoldered and harvested from OEM factory ECUs, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So they wanted like 26 bucks just for the connector. I mean, this is a lot of work. I would charge somebody more than 26 bucks to do this, so I guess that's a good deal. But I'm going to try and keep going here. All right, we got it finally. So here's the Ford ECU board that I don't need anymore. So this is either just going to go in the garbage, or I'll hang on to it because it looks cool. But then here's what we need. Here's the 60-pin connector. And what I'm going to do now is just put it in my wash tubs with some soapy water and a scrub brush. I'm going to scrub these parts down that I don't need. So, yeah, took a little while, but there we go. This is the side we were working on mostly. Okay, cool. All right, so this is basically it. I scrubbed some things down here. Here's our connector. You cleaned up all right. So, and then here's a little red washer grommet seal that goes in there. So I think, yeah. So we're gonna clip the connector back into the case like that. And then this lines up with the case like that, doesn't it? Should. Yeah, like that. And then we put the lid on. So there we go. So now we've got our empty case, like we were talking about. There's the J3 port that no longer exists, but we have the cover for it. But I think this is what we were after. We were after a case for a Speeduino V4 and the EEC-IV style Ford factory connector. So now what I think I might do, so this is going to be sitting in here like this. And I think what I'm gonna have to do is maybe I need to run the breakout board. I was hoping I could, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think I can. But I was hoping I could bend each of these, because there's 3 rows of pins. Maybe I still even could. I was thinking of, you see how they come in, then they do a 90-degree angle and go straight up. I was thinking of bending them such that they just go straight. And then, but now there's this wall here, so I guess I could grind that out of there, cut that out of there, and then I'd have a better straight shot. Because right now there's that wouldn't work. So let me. Now I got to think a little bit. Now it's time to do some planning.